Brian Goorjian here with me at Las Vegas Summer League. And Gorge, we spoke about how much you've been a part of the Knicks staff here over the course of the last few years, but Summer League, in fact, you go way back with this whole thing, and it looks a whole lot different now than it did back then.
Yeah, the very beginning, it was at Loyola Marymount. And that's the first one I can remember. And my brother played there. My father coached there. Mike Dunlap, who's a good friend, was Loyola Marymount. And it started there. And I remember I was coming back from Australia, and everyone was talking about this great player that had drifted and had some problems, and he was coming back to play in the Summer League in a Sweet Pea. And he ended up signing at Las Vegas and then trying at San Antonio, but a legend. And I remember walking into that stadium, and it was packed to see him play, and he put on a show. And that was the very beginning, the first one.
And now we transform to what it is now. And again, it is a spectacle. And this year's a bit unique. Obviously, there's certain years. The Wemby year was unique. Obviously, we've seen what Cooper Flagg's been doing, the Bronny James experience. But the experience overall, as you've seen it grow, and now you get to be a part of the staff once again, what's different about it from your perspective, and what do you come to take out of it?
Well, I think everyone talks about the players, and you're coming here in Australia, you're coming across to see these guys play and find your imports. And I think back over time that I can't really remember ever taking, on my whole time in coaching, a player that's been playing in this tournament and then bringing him back to Australia. I can't remember it one time. It's about the connections and the people that you've met through the game, some of the players now that you've coached that are going on and doing wonderful things, and talking to people, getting connections, and a lot of times finding your player through that way. And then the other aspect of this is just, I think for everybody, whether it's a coach, whether it's a referee, whether it's a player, the learning. And for me, this is the first time I've always been involved with the national team most of the time. So I sit on the back bench, and it's kind of observe and report, watch. What did you think, Coach? Well, I saw this on the on-ball. Maybe have a look at just a couple of ideas. This I've actually gone to training camp, watch them break down, and develop the offense, develop the defense. And so from a basketball standpoint, it's the most I've ever learned in my time in coming to these. And then the second aspect is being on a team and having a guy like Buwali on the team and trying to give him insight to what they're looking for in a player. And I mean, he's not at a stage right now. He's looking to play in the NBA, but your first impression, I keep, what you wear, the listening, the learning, the energy that you bring, and bringing a positivity towards the practice session, and then locking into a few things. Because really, for an Australian player, we don't have a James Harden, or we don't have that guy. You're coming in, what are they looking for? What can you do at an NBA level? And then you need to show that eliteness to them while you're here. So I've told Buwali, when you first pick the ball up 94 feet, every time you get the ball, put pressure on the rim and be a free spirit and bring a lot of energy to it. And I've been so proud. This has been an exciting part for. He's not even the coach. Is he going to be okay to practice in this? And then you come into this and you go, wow, he's really a lot more, and he's gotten a lot out of this, and he's not even playing in our first division. He's not an NBL player yet. So it's been exciting growth for him.
It's been awesome to see every time he's gone in, especially the game yesterday. And you're right, he was straight up and in. I'll take us into those discussions from the coaching standpoint, because I love hearing that. Maybe not just this year, maybe over the course of the years. We've got about 27 players here, Australian and Kiwis, NBL connections, that, as you said, they aren't the James Harden types. We have some very good role players who are trying to fit specific roles in to get to the NBA. What do the coaches all talk about in how do they stand out from an Aussie standpoint? Is it all those other little things that we wouldn't see on the basketball court that really do leave a lasting impact?
It's so important, and what the Australian, when you hear the name, oh, he's an Australian. There's a Delhi, a Joe Ingles, that their eyes light up. There's a reputation those guys before them have brought that leaves an impact. Hey, this having an Australian as your eighth or not, you pay the top four this amount of money. Can this guy? He's going to bring energy to practice every day. He's going to play his ass off. He's going to be good in all those areas that I don't think people understand. Those are skills. Work ethic is skill. Learning is skill. Being a good teammate is skill. And most of the time, the Australians, just our culture of teamship is seen in our country. If you don't have that, you can't win. Here, it's a little bit different. If we get along, great. If we don't, bring your bag and get 15 rebounds and 10 boards and shut up. Having this piece on your team is seen as valuable. And so I just think that it's whatever that skill is, like Jack McVeigh, Jack White, they bring something different to it. Jack McVeigh can do, but just do what you do and do it at an elite level and tick those other boxes. And I think a lot of times, the thing I get from this a lot of times is that the promotion around them, and it's like they're going into a wrong box sometimes. I got to get 20 points, or I got to get 30 points, because that's all the energy around them. But I think they need to go to the coach. What do you want me? What do you want to see? And lock in and hone in on that. But we have a lot of guys in this that are capable of playing in the NBA now. I mean, Jack McVeigh, Jack White, Magne. I mean, you said there's 27 guys here. Some of them are in it, but we have a lot that eyes are on.
What does it say about the NBL as a whole? You've been around the game of basketball for so long, at the highest level. You go back to when it began, and then as guys like Paddy, Joe, they start to tick off, and we start to see a little bit of a representation at Summer League. Australians, Chris Golding was here, Nathan Sobey. But now, as I said, for 27 guys, like, there is clearly amongst the NBA, they understand what is happening down in the NBL, and that we have NBA talent ready to fill these roles, and it's growing at a ridiculous rate.
Well, I think it starts, I used to always say, as a national coach, don't, we're this. It's all that's underneath it. And when I came to Australia in the 70s, a lot of the guys coming into basketball were guys that, couldn't play professionally in cricket, or couldn't play Australian rules football or rugby, so basketball. Now, and those sports are seen as Aussie sports. And we used to always say basketball is a world sport, but you couldn't see it. But now, in what's gone on in society now, you can look at where we are. And the game's being played all over the world at a very elite level, and there's a lot of guys before the ones coming up now that are making a ton of money and having great careers in a great sport. So I think, one, we're attracting an incredible top-level athlete, and there's a lot of top-level guys that never got into basketball back in the 70s that are experiencing it now, and we're benefiting from the talent pool. The Sudanese community is a second one. A third one is the coaching. Now, it used to be some kid's dad that, took everybody to McDonald's afterward. It's moved past to where now the education of coaches, Peter Lonigan, and what's going on there, our center of excellence, is respected around the world. And ours I think, is getting stronger. And as you come here, they're experiencing some issues with the AAU basketball, with the NIL, with entitlement. So there's a purity about our game, and we're getting some of these points and some of these things in place that are making our basketball development programs elite.
It's great to see, and it's been such a busy week for us, which is always a good thing because it means we've got plenty to talk about. I need to touch on the Kings briefly because I know you go from here to the preseason, and it's going to be an exciting season ahead. But recently, you had your three leaders in Matthew Dellavedova, Xavier Cooks, Kendrick Davis, new signing together in California. How important was the idea of getting those three to touch base and actually be on the court together before preseason even begins to what you hopefully can achieve?
Well, the culture piece, the growth of that. I know culture is a big word, but it can be interpreted in a lot of ways. But our setting standards, driving those standards, was like this last year. We made some. It was a roller coaster ride, and we've identified that as a big part of us being better from last year. And so one was getting our best players together and getting our team together as soon as possible. And we have a group or seven, our glass was half full. We had a group that we liked that we feel like is young and is going to grow. And now we have a better idea of what their strengths and weaknesses are, so a better understanding of what to pull in. And Kendrick Davis and Delly were huge in that piece. Those two were very important. And to get them with Xavier early and start talking about the standards, because it comes from your leaders. A lot of times it comes from your best players. So that was very important to get those guys together and on the same page. Got Kendrick into Vegas, and we spent a good period of time together. And really this whole aspect that we're talking about now was how we ended up with Tim Soares, is that the guys that played that we brought back that were Kings prior to me being here all spoke very highly of him with the group that we have, that he would play that role perfectly. And this culture, this growth on the standards that we're trying, he's a lead at. So had a couple conversations with him on the phone, and that was, I just think a really, and we keep talking about the other two pieces, but that big around the basket, the rebounding, putting a body on those, the bigs that Adelaide had last year was a problem for us. So I feel comfortable that we've identified personnel-wise what was missing and what we needed to grow on. And now the work is on, again, building these standards, starting and to build that. This is a process. New coaching staff, got Andrew Bogut on now, new ownership, and last year a lot of new players. So it's a build, and I think everyone's on the same page in that area, trying to build and be a consistent top four. And this is really, really difficult because the competition, you only have 10 teams, and we're producing so many Australians. It's hard to get an edge and be better than the other ones.
It's going to be a fascinating watch because of all the talent you have, but the versatility. And you mentioned Suarez, getting him in. Are we going to see potentially a bunch of different starting lineups, a bunch of different rotations? Because you've got what Suarez brings versus what Kelly Lepepe brings is very different. But then you've got Jalen Galloway, who I think is set for a massive year. Malawatch, we've seen, he's had those moments. Bull Qual, we're expecting to have one of those seasons where we thought we'd see last year more on a consistent basis. Kuwait Neuber, we know exactly what Kuwait's going to bring. But it goes down the list. You've got all these options, different pieces to work with. Does that excite you heading into preseason with Bogues being like, hey, we're going to roll the ball out here. These guys are going to compete for a month or so. We'll see what happens.
No, it's an exciting group, like you say, and there is versatility. And I think, starting lineups or not, I just think we have the ability to play small ball. We have the ability to go long and be a switching team. We have an ability to maybe zone and press a little bit. And I just feel like last year we got stuck in the mud a little bit with the push of the ball. And I think that if we're going to play the players that you're talking about, you have to play a certain style. And the summer league's been really good for me because it's about pace and what's next. It's not about coming up, we're running horns down, horns side, horn. I love the way they're coaching the game and the style that you have to play, because we're in a similar situation here. He's got 17 guys here. It's 40 minutes. And I'm listening to conversations of, and they put it on the players. Hey, man, to keep all you have, we've got to play like this. And you're coming off the floor because you're exhausted. And I mean, 4 or 5 guys, I mean, you can't play 17, but they're playing 10, 11, 12, and the guys are coming off tired because of the style in which they're playing.
It's a great point to bring up because there are so many players to get through in this style of play. So I guess the last thing to end on here is the one unique thing I found about Summer League is you get 10 fouls. Do you want to see 10 fouls back? It makes it hard for a lot of the guys to go in there because the physicality ramps up, and that alone can also be a tricky thing to, I guess, to evaluate for teams. One, looking for players, but also trying to stand out as well.
I don't think anyone in the coaching likes that.
Yeah.
They're playing that because it's just sometimes it gets the foot. Smash him.
Yeah.
He's got to smash him and to have him take the ball
Yeah.
outside. But I would say, in our conversation here that there's a lot to be learned for all of us in every aspect. I know I've done clinics here. I've come here and they've got an international element now where you can go and watch Europeans, watch top NBA coaches, do clinics, and you can learn video, huddle, that aspect of it. Also, the refereeing. And I just think that our game is changing, and I like coming to practice and the coaches saying, this is how you guard this. Or if you don't, it's a foul. And I think I keep with the NBL, I don't think it's the referees. I just think our interpretation is cloudy. And I've said that before, the physicality that we have a 6'10" guy I look down there, he's just belting the shit out of our bigs, saying, man, you got to be finished, and you got to finish, through contact. Put your chest on him, and you're looking down there. They got the battens, and they're, he's coming down there. He's a pound, and he's laying body on him, and we're picking up. And one of the things I've noticed sitting on the bench is a lot of the stuff the NBL's better at than what's going on here. But the physicality defensively is a whole different world. You got these 6'7" guys long picking up 3/4 court, and it's chest and riding guys and they don't call anything unless you swing. And my point being is the referees can learn, and we have coaches referee, and they referee. Here's what the referees are going to call. Here's what they're not going to call, and they'll call our practices that way. So we'll have 5 referees around the court, and they're whistling. No, your hands in, chest on them, good. There's constant understanding between the coaches and how the referee is going to be called when it gets to the NBA. So again, commentating, assistant coaching, the role as an assistant, the role the video guy's doing. I mean, it's the player's development. And we said there's so many aspects of the game that you can grow by being here, and you're around seeing all these guys that have played in Australia. I was in the weight room the other day. There's Chris Gent. You walk down there's Kerrywell. And you realize so many guys that you've had and so many guys that have played in Australia have gone on now and are doing amazing things out of the NBL. So, you walk away as an Australian and a representation of the NBL. I know in our group we have 15 coaches around the thing. There is an interest, what's it like their coach? I applied for the Cairns job. I was these guys, everybody knows about Australia and everybody's excited about it.
And so they should be, and it's a great point how many different things you can learn from being here. So if you haven't been to Summer League, making sure you happen at one stage. Gorge, thank you so much. This has been fun, and we'll see you back down in Australia.
Yes, sir.